mean,
I actually think the Ravens will win.
I think the Ravens are going to win too. I think Le'Veon is actually really going to hurt them a lot. I understand Antonio Brown. I get it, and Big Ben.
No, Le'Veon Bell is gonna hurt them a lot. I'm not denying
He's
that.
going to hurt them a lot because Le'Veon Bell was not just a rusher, but he was also pretty good receiving running back too.
He was the receiving back.
And he was a really good one. He was probably better than Matt Forte this year.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's going to really hurt them. And I don't know. I mean, I just feel, we know the luck that the Ravens have. I mean, the Steelers do have it too, but the Ravens, I don't know. Joe Flacco just seems to step up in the playoffs, and they always seem to go far. And I understand Big Ben does too. But I don't know. I'm just feeling the Ravens on this one. I think Steve Smith actually has a really good game.
Okay. Last point.
That's just a good feeling.
Last point. Steelers.
I think the Le'Veon Bell injury is just going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him enough to lose.
It's going to be bad, but I think they still pull it off. Steelers 5-0 against the Ravens in the playoffs. Just saying.
Nick has classified the first two games as bad, and this doesn't even include the game that he picked as instead of giving a team. He's not making Nick. You're not really making the fans want to watch football this weekend, are you?
No, I think the Steelers game is going to be good. Okay, the Steelers are really hurt by Le'Veon Bell, which is going to make it a little bit closer. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. Fair?
Fair enough.
Okay, now to the worst game ever created. Bengals +4 at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I thought the Cardinals at Panthers were going to be bad. But not as bad as this. These teams, the Colts, I said this preseason, they're not a really good team. They just have Andrew Luck, who makes them look really good. And Andrew Luck's been terrible. Okay, they got demolished by the Cowboys. They've gotten demolished the past couple weeks. I don't know what happened. I don't know who they played last week, but...
When was the last time they played a meaningful football game?
That's true. Andrew Luck has been a pick machine this year. Trust me, I am an Andrew Luck.
Andy Dalton, though.
I had Andrew Luck in two different fantasy leagues. He threw an amazing amount of picks this year. Now
they draft every year.
Yeah. I can't pick this game. The Bengals are terrible. The Colts are terrible. All right, I'm gonna let you guys make your picks. I'll figure it out. CB, you go first. CB.
All right, Nick. Like you said, the Colts aren't a good team. They're just driven by one very good player, and this is a quarterback-driven league. T.Y. Hilton has been limited, if playing at all, the last couple of weeks against Dallas. He didn't play at all, and that's their big weapon. When you put him alongside Dante Moncrief, you have two of the fastest receivers in the NFL. It's really hard to stop. Now, T.Y. Hilton probably really isn't that great of a wide receiver. He just has Andrew Luck throwing to him. Colts defense isn't great. The Bengals defense really isn't that great either. The Colts have no run game. The Bengals have a very good run game. But without A.J. Green practicing, A.J. Green still has yet to practice due to his concussion suffered against the Steelers. Without A.J. Green, I'm having a hard time thinking the Bengals can win because Andy Dalton is far from competent quarterback, especially in playoff games, especially on nationally televised games. So I'm having a hard time thinking Andy Dalton can win a playoff game, especially without A.J. Green. Now, Mohamed Sanu has played great when A.J. Green hasn't played. But I'm having a hard time that a team driven by Andy Dalton can be a team that's led by Andrew Luck in Indianapolis, and then it's only a 4-point spread. I don't think this is going to be a very close game at all.
And Matt.
Yeah, I'm going Indy too. I mean, it's going to be a bad game. It is. Andy Dalton, I just feel like he's just going to throw too many picks.
20 picks. You heard it here first.
Too many picks.
Oh, too many. I think it's 20.
Oh, no, yeah, too many picks for Andy Dalton in this game. I just, and I'm not saying that the Colts defense is good because believe me, they're not that good. They're not a good defense at all. Their best player is probably Monte Davis. I just think Andy Dalton he's looking like Eli Manning a few years ago, just kind of throwing 2 or 3 picks a game, and you just can't do that in the playoffs. It's going to hurt you. I think the streak continues for Cincinnati, having winning a playoff game since the 90s, I think. And I think Indy, we've seen a lot of bright spots in Indy this year, especially because of Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck could, he actually could be the true MVP, even though he won't get it. If
He's been
really
real
think
bad
about
this year. What are you talking about?
What?
He's been bad this year. What are you talking about?
I know, but he's the reason why they're here. They're 11-5 still.
I don't know. Pat McAfee's up there.
Oh, Pat McAfee, right? Okay, all right. But
And as Nick, Johnny Heckler's the reason for St. Louis' 6 wins.
What was that?
right,
I said Nick would say that Johnny Hecker is the reason for 4 of St. Louis' 6 wins.
exactly.
Correct.
And Luck's been able to keep them in his games. Indy has beaten the bad teams and not exactly done the best against good teams. Indy did play Cincy this year though, and they beat them 27-0. I don't know if you guys remember that.
That was gonna be my next point.
Okay, so I think it's gonna happen again. Colts win.
Now, like
Bengals,
you said,
sorry, Marvin Lewis gets fired within the next 3 years.
3 years. You give him that long?
2 years. I mean, I'm saying this for the Bengals. I do think they have the talent. They have running backs. They have a quarterback who's good enough. AJ Green is obviously an amazing wide receiver. Their defense is good. Marvin Lewis just hasn't been able to push this team forward.
But with AJ Green likely not going to be playing this weekend, I don't see how you can pick them.
I actually did not know that AJ Green was questionable. But
he still has not practiced this week from this concussion that he's
Oh,
sustained
well,
against
that
the Steelers.
changes everything.
But where's a point what's a point for Marvin Lewis where enough is enough? I mean, really, this guy has coached almost as long as Tom Coughlin, or longer, I think. And
Well, I
he's
think-
done nothing.
I think, like Tom Coughlin, he's in a position where it's not all his fault. I think a lot
Yes, but at some point, I think you need to change anyway.
I agree with you.
It seems like the Bengals are in the same spot every year. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in this game, but if we believe the outcome that's going to happen, I mean, they're literally in the same spot every year. Do good, maybe win a division.
I agree with you.
Lose first round.
I give Marvin Lewis until next season. Lovie Smith was in a similar position. He got fired after a 10-6 season.
Lovie Smith went to the Super Bowl one year. Marvin Lewis has never won a playoff game.
That's true.
And he's been there since 2003, I think.
He's been there a long time, yeah. So, here's my point.
Come on.
The
I think
Bengals-
it's ridiculous.
The Bengals' second best quarterback is making has a contract worth $140 million. Their best quarterback on that team is Mohamed Sanu. I'm only semi-joking. What's the over-under for... Give me an over-under for Andy Dalton interceptions. Because last time we did this, I got over right.
1.5.
That's a joke, over. He threw 3 interceptions against the Bucks.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're not winning.
Okay, you've made my point for me. I'll take the Colts. -4. But don't watch this game. Do not. So
So don't put your channels on Channel 2, Jersey guys. Channel 2 is CBS. That's where the game's going to be on.
Yeah, so the only 2 games worth watching are the late games. Ravens at Steelers tomorrow, 8:15. And then when we're about to pick, Lions +7 at the Cowboys, 4:40. These are really weird times, by the way. 4:40 on Sunday. So now, I don't know what Snowball's thinking. He's picking the Lions +7. You care to explain?
I can't pick the Cowboys. Just can't do it. Probably going to win this game, but I'm going with Detroit. I'm going to give it a shot. Matthew Stafford, the gunslinger, going to try to throw it at Megatron as much as he can. Give it to Golden Tate every once in a while. I'm kind of hoping Detroit wins this game because I want to see Detroit because Detroit hasn't won a playoff game in a long time either. Um, I just personally I just want to pick the Cowboys. That's really why I'm doing this. But the Cowboys, they really are tied right now with tied with the best record in the NFL. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Detroit. Just go against you and go against the Cowboys because
Romo's gonna win his playoff game. He might even win 2 this year. The Cowboys are just too good, and I don't think it's gonna be cold enough for Ndamukong Suh to hurt Tony Romo. That's all I have to say. CB, you can take it.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys as well. This team has shattered all of my expectations for this year. I'm sure they've done the same for all of you guys. I think
not my expectations.
Oh, I thought they were going to be 8-8.
I knew they were going to win the division. I knew they were going to win at least one playoff game.
Yes, but did you really think that
they'd be as good as they were? With Tony Romo doing great, DeMarco Murray running for
I did not see them demolishing the Colts like that, but I knew they were going to be good.
We probably all thought Des Bryant was a good year, actually. The defense doing as good as they were, especially without Sean Lee and having as year as they did last year. O-line doing great, especially with the addition of Zach Martin. I mean, they really turned things around by not doing a whole lot.
That's true.
We knew they were going to have a good offense. I'm surprised that this defense is as good as it is.
It saved Jason Garrett's job because Jason Garrett, they had the same outcome. Probably didn't get fired.
That's also very true.
Basically, I actually really like Detroit as a team this year, but
I think they're a good team, but I think Dallas is more talented. And they're home, which helps.
I don't know if that helps.
And you're still picking Detroit, Matt?
Yeah, because I need to get some points. First of all, I just can't.
Win. You're not go against me.
I just can't pick the Cowboys. It's just not in my DNA.
Okay, that's fair. So we're going to move to the hometown roundup.
Nick, would you pick the Ravens if it was the same situation?
No, you know what? I'm picking the Seahawks over the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I think the Steelers are a really good team this year, but I'm not afraid to pick against them.
All right.
If the
but you're saying they're going to win.
Let me put it this way: there are no good teams right now, for the Steelers to play. If the Steelers were playing the Cowboys, I'd pick the Cowboys.
If you ask me right now, the 3 best teams in the NFC: the Cowboys, Packers, and the Seahawks are 3 best teams right now.
Well, yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. Aren't those the top 3 seeds?
They're the top 3 teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. I don't think there's a team in the AFC better than any of them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's also fair. That's why I'm picking the Seahawks to beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
I guarantee the Steelers won't get there. But...
Well, the way I see it, I believe they play the Broncos if they win this week. Peyton Manning is a well-known choke artist in the playoffs.
If C.J. Anderson will run for 160 yards and 4 more touchdowns, is that what I'm understanding?
You know what? That's going to be a close game, and I will like to watch that game, unlike the rest of these games besides the Steelers and the Cowboys. But
I'm interested in Dallas and Detroit this week. That's about it, to be quite honest.
And I understand that because 8 o'clock's your bedtime. I get it.
My bedtime is not 8 o'clock. My bedtime is past 10. No, it's at 10. I believe it or not, made it to New Year's Eve this year, so...
Claps for CB. All right, so we're moving on to the hometown roundup. College basketball, Rutgers is now 8-6. They lost their Big Ten opener versus Northwestern, and they will face Penn State tomorrow. Seton Hall, 11-2, won the big game against number 15 St. John's, 78-67, and will play number 3 undefeated Villanova with Jay Wright, not Brendan Wright, tomorrow. As for the NFL snowball, your Giants.
Your 7-year-old basketball team still has as many career Big Ten wins as Rutgers does.
That is correct. I coached in Morristown the junior Los Angeles Lakers. We are currently 0-1. We lost our opener about, I think it was 9-7. So disappointing there, but we're looking to bounce back. Now, as for Snowball's Giants, they lost to the Eagles 34-26 last week, so they finished...
I was actually at that game, and it was very depressing.
Yeah, so they finished 6-10, third in the NFC East. They decided to keep Coughlin, and they got the 10th overall pick. Now, the thing with Coughlin is he's a really good coach. He he just doesn't